Members, it's the appointed time and we have a quorum. I call the meeting to order. We have two papers to discuss on today, and the administration circulated to among members paper number ECI 2013-14 and number 14. It is a summary of the latest changes in directorate establishment approved since 2002 and the changes to the directorate establishment of civil servants in relation to the two discussion items today. I remind members that if there is any direct or indirect pecuniary interest between you and the discussion items, would you please make a declaration before you speak in accordance with ROP 83A. And I also draw members' attention to Rule 84 of the ROP in relation to pecuniary interest. The first item is in relation to the creation of a supernumerary Assistant Director of Environmental Protection post in EPD for a period of 3 years with immediate effect. The post will lead a waste reduction and recycling division in the department. On the 16th of December last year and the 27th of January this year, the panel of the LegCo was consulted, and we have with us Mr. Howard Chan, Deputy Director of Environmental Protection, and Mrs. Alison Lau, Assistant Director of Environmental Protection. The Chairman of the Environmental Affairs panel, Ms. Sid Ho, is not a member of this subcommittee, and she is unable to attend this meeting, so I will read out the information note. On the 16th of December and the 27th of January, the item was discussed by the panel. Apart from one member, all the other members support the consideration of this item by the ESC. And in relation to the request made on the 16th of December, the administration has supplied supplementary information about the creation of the new division. And in general, there is a support for the creation of the new division to promote the sustainable development of the recycling industry, and urges the administration to speed up its work upon the creation of the new post. But Mr. Albert Chan indicated that he opposed to the creation of the new post. Mr. Kwakaki, we see that there is a need for this new post. We see that over many years in the past, including this year, there is not enough done for the recycling industry. And the administration said that there is going to be $1 billion set aside to promote the industry. Now we have the collection and recycling of glass bottle, but it's only for one type of bottle, for beverage bottle only. And for those glass bottles collected in Southeast Asia, they will be converted into new glass items. But now in Hong Kong, the glass bottles collected will only go to the landfill. And I don't see that the Eco Park will play a role that is effective enough to get the job done to our satisfaction. And I'm afraid that it will be very quickly and easily for the $1 billion to be spent. And all you talk about is just the same thing about education promotion, about the use of Eco Park. They've all been said before, and they are of no use. What can the administration do actually to increase the recycling rate of 40%? Now, currently, all the items collected, paper, glass, they will be sent overseas for further processing. I believe that that can be done in Hong Kong because this will be conducive to our environment and to our job market. Well, can this be done with the creation of the post? This will last for 3 years. Can you give us any undertaking as to what will happen if that cannot be done? Mr. Chen, I thank the member for his support of the creation of the post. We support the development of the recycling industry. The CS4A has set up an independent group to take an overall view of the recycling industry. And when it comes to support of the development of the recycling industry, there can be many ways and different measures to be adopted. The policy address this year, $1 billion will be earmarked to promote development of the industry. But there are other demands from the industry, say for example land. When the waste is exported, they need to use space, berth space for their containers, and there is also a high demand of labor. It's a labor-intensive industry, and as a result, employment insurance or labor insurance premium is quite high. On top of that, there is occupational safety measures, training. There are many different demands and they need our help. Apart from supporting the industry, we have other measures, say for example the producer responsibility scheme, say glass bottles. When the scheme is implemented, there will be direct assistance given to the industry. And there are also other initiatives in the Eco Park. In the Eco Park, there are some recycling companies operating there. It's effective, and we will continue our work. We think with the establishment of the Waste Reduction and Recycling Division, it will further promote our work in this regard. We will keep up our work. He hasn't answered me. I asked whether all your undertakings will materialize after 3 years' time, because this post will last for 3 years only. Mr. Chen, this will last for a period of 3 years. We will conduct a review before the expiry of the 3 years to see how we progress and consider whether there is a need for the continuation of the post. And of course, the need depends on how much will be put in the implementation of these measures. We will first implement the measures before we decide whether we will need the post to last for longer. So in other words, they will have to see how it goes before they decide. Mr. Yu Si-wing, in the past, the administration adopted an approach of non-intervention, and now they start to do something, which is a good thing. And I see that there are six types of work. Most of them are just current ongoing initiatives, and there are a number of directorates. But it gives the impression that all the work is just for the short term only and not for the long run. And I heard from Mr. Chen that they will decide after implementation to see whether the post will last longer. And for the person taking up the post, they don't see any certainty because they don't know whether the post will be there after 3 years' time. And there is a wide scope of duty. Are you going to have an internal promotion, or is it done through open recruitment? We're talking about a post with a certain degree of expertise. Will this division also take up entry port to the mainland or the overseas of waste? Mr. Chan. Thank you for the question. The period is 3 years, but our work does not stop after 3 years. Before the expiry of the 3-year period, we will conduct a review to see how the measures are implemented and the workload, and then we will decide whether we need to lengthen the period of the post. And if there is a long-term need, we will keep the post. Most of the jobs are done through open recruitment. This is a civil service post. If it's a junior post, it's done through open recruitment. For more senior post, it's done through internal promotion. So in the end, the posts are filled through open recruitment. And in relation to entry port of waste, there is already regulation by the Import-Export Control Division. We have to make sure that overseas waste will not end up in our landfill. And we have a number of divisions looking into that to make sure that it doesn't happen. If it is ongoing work, will you have an early review to see whether the post will in the end be turned into a permanent post? About the recruitment, the assistant director post, it's a directorate post, so how is it going to be done? In relation to overseas waste, we find that there is a difference between the amount of import and the amount of export. So we wonder whether it's a case that some has stayed in Hong Kong. You need a clear delineation of responsibility. Well, this new division is the waste reduction and recycling. So can more be added to the duty of the division?
Chairman, the post of assistant director will be filled through internal promotion, and then the junior post under the assistant director will be recruited through public recruitment. For the waste products which have been brought into Hong Kong from actually there is an international trade treating these waste products as raw materials. So we have a control regime that is pursuant to the Environmental Protection Ordinance. We have the Environmental Protection Division overseeing that, whereas the Waste Reduction and Recycling Division is responsible for supervising the recycling of waste products. But then there is still a need for coordination between those two divisions. Mr. Kwun Siu Ping. Thank you. My question is similar to Mr. Yiu's. My main concern, and I would like to take this opportunity to go to paragraph 14. That is from 2014 to 2015, you will create 22 non-directorate civil service posts, and the 33 posts under the Environmental Protection Division. Together with 22, will they all be working under the supervision of the new assistant director? And secondly, Previously, all these work would need to be done anyway. So how can you ensure that other civil service colleagues will not have to undertake such work? Well, the 33 existing posts comes under the Waste Reduction and Eco Park Division, and right now they are coordinated by the Assistant Director for Environmental Protection and Infrastructures. Other than taking charge of the work of waste reduction and the eco park, they will also need to take charge of the extension of landfills and other management of other waste management facilities. Since he has to oversee such a large areas of work, we need to put the work under the in relation to eco park under within the waste reduction and recycling division. With the creation of the new division, the 33 colleagues will be under the management of the new assistant director. In relation of the 22 non-directorate staff, they will be responsible for the new measures and they will assist the assistant director to deal with these new initiatives. So the existing work are now performed by the 33 colleagues. For the new initiatives, they will be undertaken by the 22 new colleagues. So in other words, in terms of management, the 33 colleagues will be placed under the management of the new assistant director. And then the original division will have 33 the 33 staff will be transferred to the division. I think when Mr. Yao Tenghua, was the director of environment, he made a mess of everything he did. For example, what he did, about idling engine, was really not successful, and the landfills now are all fully saturated. I don't think you can ask the senior officials. We have one director who is not performing well, and then he is asked to take charge of the CE's office. So it's very difficult for us to monitor the performance. So it is now proposed that the department will create 22 additional posts. They now tell us that they now have this blueprint for waste reduction and recycling, as if there's an urgent need for that. Previously, the government, suggested measures to ban smoking because smoking is fatal. But I've never heard of people dying because of they smoke. On the other hand, we have pollutants coming from the north, and we've also have ocean vessels, using fuel which pollute our environment. Same for the aeroplanes. I would like to, support a lot of funding for the EPD, but it would have to be money that is well worth spending. But now you're proposing to create this new post. I don't know whether or not there will be any filibustering when we have the budget debate this year, because the EPD has not performed its duties well. So previously, you have the assistant director responsible for the environment and infrastructure, but now that there are new duties to be performed. Could you tell me what new duties would need to be undertaken? Does it mean that you're going to build a few more recycling centers for kitchen waste, or turning the kitchen waste into soap? And you're even saying that this person would be responsible for lobbying electrical members to support the construction of a few more new landfills. So how can we? I think at least you should do something about the landfills. Otherwise, either we just put forward a proposal to us, and we're put into a difficult position as to whether or not we would approve the funding. So I really didn't want to attend the meeting today. So what are you going to? Let me ask you this question: what are we going to do with the landfills? You need to hire this person to lobby us for the construction or for the extension of the landfills. And what about incineration? When are you going to do that? And when are you going to propose legislation to clean up our harbor? Who is responsible for that? And Mr. Ricky Yuen, Rimsky Yuen, for example, how can he do these things? I think you can simply copy that piece of legislation. It's just that in our harbor we allow people to use whatever fuel they like. Same for aeroplanes. We are the Legislative Council. If you come and apply for funding, we will approve the funding. Anyway, why don't we have somebody in your department to urge, Mr. Yuen to draft the legislation? You always say that smoking kills. And same in the case of education, Now, who is responsible for urging Mr. Yuen to draft, the legislation? Is anyone? Can anyone who will do that? You say that you're going to do something in terms of legislation. When are you going to do that? Is there someone within your department to urge Mr. Yuen to come up with the draft legislation as soon as possible? Mr. Leung, I think your time is up. Let me see whether or not Mr. Chen has a simple response to that. Madam Chair, the current Assistant Director, his terms of reference is outlined in Annexes 2 and 4 for the Assistant Director, Environment and Infrastructure. Other than being responsible for the 3 landfills and the refuse transfer points, he is also responsible for the expansion of the landfills and also work relating to waste treatment, including our waste segregation scheme. So his work is going to be very onerous. At the same time, he has to be he is responsible for work relation to waste reduction, relating to waste reduction. So he will focus on environment, improving the environment, and then we have a dedicated division to responsible recycling. Who is responsible for urging Mr. Yuen to come up with the draft legislation to clean up our harbor? Well, Mr. Leung, I think that question is not relevant to this paper, which is about the creation of the post to take charge of recycling. I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Mr. Tenka Pugh. Thank you. For this new post and the team, if it is going to be set up to promote the development of the recycling industry, well, I think the FTU has actually visited many of the stakeholders in the recycling industry, and we found that they are encountering many difficulties. For example, there is one recycling company recycling kitchen waste. He told me that he told us that he need to apply for 10 licenses, and he asked the Chamber of Commerce, and they have to pay them a few money to take the waste to the kitchen waste treatment facility. And people usually think that they don't have to pay for that. They just dump them on the street. So they're operating under a very difficult environment. So what qualification will this new assistant director need to have? It shouldn't just be that he is someone who cares about the environment. He also needs to know about the actual operations of the recycling industry. So what kind of person can take up this post? Although you're going to recruit this post by internal promotion. And secondly, when will he and his team be able to start the work. So that, and thirdly, now that you are creating this new, now that you have this environment and infrastructure division, and you're also creating a new assistant director, waste reduction and recycling. So what about the kitchen waste recycling center at Siu Ho Wan? I don't think we've heard anything about that project. I mean, since my days as a district councillor, funding for the project is yet to come. Madam Chair, we will follow the standard civil service promotion system and a resident selection committee will consider will select the appropriate candidate in the light of his experience and ability. So we will follow the usual procedure. Regarding the date for the creation of this post, if we have the recommendation of this committee today, we plan to go to the FC, the earliest FC meeting, that is on May the 2nd, to seek his funding approval. With the support of the FC, we will immediately create this post and set up this division. Regarding the kitchen waste reduction recycling center at Siu Ho Wan, we've just completed the tender exercise, and very shortly we will apply to the PWSC for funding. We expect that we will be able to do that within the next few months. Secondly, you have not told me when the new team will be able to start operation. You say that you will be able to create a post on May the 2nd, on 2nd May, but when will this team actually start working? And secondly, I wasn't asking about promotion, internal promotion. I was saying that the candidate for this post must have expertise not only in environmental protection but also have the commercial expertise, because you must realize that the recycling industry is operating under very difficult conditions. And secondly, regarding Siu Ho Wan, how much funding do you intend to apply for? Will you go back and consult the district council? I think so you will need to go to the FC, and you will also be consulting the district council. Regarding the team, for the non-directorate post, we expect that the post could be created on April the 1st. Regarding the kitchen waste recycling center at Siu Ho Wan, since we've just completed the tendering exercise, we haven't announced who has won the bid yet, but we hope that once we have the results, we will apply to the PWSC for funding as soon as possible. Regarding consultation, we have already consulted the district council and reported to the environmental panel of this council about our progress. So will you be able to go to the FC for funding before July the 1st? Yes, that's correct. Mr. Martin Liao, Madam Chair, I support the creation of this supernumerary post because I support the government's, supporting the recycling industry. My question is whether or not the creation of this post would involve the long-term and comprehensive planning for the supporting the recycling industry. I understand that there are altogether 6 public cargo handling areas, 2 on Hong Kong Island and 4 in Kowloon and the NT. But the recycling of waste, paper and plastic products all are concentrated along the Rambling Channel in Chai Wan and the Yau Ma Tei cargo handling area. With the demand for recycled products increasing, so have you ever assessed whether or not for the next 10 years you have sufficient space along the waterfront to ensure that the recycling industry will have sufficient space to maintain their steady and sustainable development? Regarding the public cargo handling areas and the berthing area there, we have consulted the trade, and they told us that for the waste paper recycling industry, they do have a greater demand for the berths but they're not able to afford come up with offer a higher bid as those recycling industries which handle waste products with greater commercial value.
So we put in place some measures for these recycling operators to better use the berthing space. These berthing space currently are scattered in different locations along the pier. They ask for arrangements to be made for these berthing spaces to be closer to one another. We're studying into that. Before the expiry of the contract, there will be a new tender system to targeting at recycling operators so that more assistance can be given to them. If there are no other questions, then I put this item to a vote. Those in favor, please raise their hands. All? No, not all. Those against, please raise their hands. No objection. So this item is endorsed. Does anyone require this item to be split up, from into a separate item for in the FC vote for voting? Next is item EC 2013-14, number 23. The FSTB proposes to keep 2 supernumerary posts of 1 administrative officer staff grade B, D3, and an administrative officer staff grade C, D2. Till the 31st of December 2016 to provide dedicated staffing support to take forward legislative exercises on corporate insolvency, auditor regulatory reform, abscondee regime under the Bankruptcy Ordinance, and other matters. And on the 6th of January, the FSP was consulted. We have with us from the administration Mr. Patrick Ho, Deputy Secretary for the Financial Services and the Treasury. Ms. Dari Lee is the chairman of the panel. She was here before, but not now. Well, I have the information note here, so I will read it out on her behalf. On the 6th of January, the administration consulted members in the FS panel. There is general support from members to put this forward to the ESC for consideration. Members asked about the progress of the legislative proposal of corporate rescue procedure and the timetable of the auditor regulatory reform. 2 members would like to ask questions. Mr. Tan Ka-Piu to be followed by Mr. Kenneth Leung. Mr. Tang. I know that this is not a new post, so I will direct my questions on policy first. Corporate insolvency is related to labor rights. Well, after a company has wound up what is the priority of labor claim, that is very important. I know that there will be a series of legislative amendments to the Bankruptcy Ordinance and the Companies Ordinance. I ask the team from the administration to fully consult relevant stakeholders, including labor unions. The last amendment related to bankruptcy is the fees related to bankruptcy, especially the deposit, is quite high. So for people who file for bankruptcies, it's very difficult because they are already bankrupt and they have to pay a high fee. Well, even the business sector think that the administration should should come up with something. Some suggested a fund. And the administration said that, well, the fees will be lowered and that's it. I hope the team will continue to consider this matter. And have you actually considered anything in the meantime, Mr. Ho? First, consultation. In the exercise to improve the corporate insolvency, we are currently doing a lot of things. Labor issues is very important, and we have consulted business sector and labor associations and unions, including the one Mr. Tang belongs. In the middle of this year, we will brief the LegCo of the result of the consultation. In relation to the fees to file for bankruptcy, we've heard diverse views from legislations for various changes. We have had discussions with the department, and internally we furnished a detailed paper to the relevant panel. We said that we would first reduce the fee level, and in relation to other issues, say for example the problems encountered in implementation and whether an ordinary citizen would easily become bankrupt. We understand that these issues still remain. We will discuss with the official receiver's office to iron out these issues. Mr. Kenneth Leung. In relation to the Grade B and Grade C administrative officer, well, the trust law and the company's ordinance have both been endorsed and will become effective. And what you're doing is the exercise on corporate insolvency, corporate rescue procedure, and those related to the auditing sector. There are 2 posts dealing with 3 separate areas. FRC, or the company registry, do a lot of work. So you actually giving yourself a lot of leeway by asking for 2 posts. Well, this is the first time we heard this saying. In the past, we've always been asked whether that 2 posts are enough. For the abscondee regime, once there is a court order, work will have to be taken up. We have to make a legislative proposal, and there is no precedence to follow. There is no similar overseas examples to follow. This is a new review. This is a new exercise, something new in Hong Kong, and we will need more time to deal with it. That's why I said in the middle of the year we will consult the panel on the new proposal before we embark on legislative proposal. First, about trustees, the trustees law and the bankruptcy and the Companies Ordinance, yes, they have been endorsed, and we've discussed with the academics that in the past that over a number of years there has not been any legislative amendment, and we started the legislative amendment so that Hong Kong can catch up with other overseas jurisdictions and not fall short, say for example, when compared to Singapore. And we are discussing with the sector to see how we can take this forward. After the trust law has become effective in December last year, we have already started discussion with the sector. And as to what we are currently doing, say the corporate rescue procedure is a complicated issue. In 2000 and 2001, on two occasions, there were two proposals made to the LegCo, but they were not endorsed. In 2009, there was a consultation. It was identified that there are a lot of major issues that have yet to be decided. We endeavor to get back to the LegCo before the summer break. It involves a lot of different legislative issues. It involves different sectors, the labor, the business sector, and there are diverse views that we need to take into consideration. We have limited manpower, and we have to communicate with different stakeholders, and we have to internally talk to our lawyers to prepare for the legislative proposal. I believe that we don't have actually much room to maneuver. About the new corporate rescue procedure, it may be slightly different from the previous proposals. Why are you confident that this time round we will accept your package? And in relation to the auditor regulatory reform, what is the progress? There are many different views from the sector. So what is the legislative timetable? Mr. Ho? Corporate rescue procedure. Compared to the packages in 2000 and 2001, there is a marked improvement. In 2009 and 10, we took the first step to start consultation. We've briefed the LegCo about the result of the consultation. On some basic issues, there was consensus. But for the exercise in 2009, it wasn't comprehensive. On certain issues, say for example, labor issues, wage in arrears, there was no decision made. And there are also issues relating to the responsibility of one being a provisional supervisor and also the responsibilities of a creditor. We have to work on a detailed legislative proposal. Yes, there is a change from the proposals in 2000 and 2001. And this time round is based on the 2009 consultation. Since the packages were not endorsed, that's why in 2009 we could not have a comprehensive consultation. We took the important issues to test the water, and we found that there is a chance that consensus could be built, and that's why we start a whole package of legislative proposal. Regarding auditor regulatory reform, we consulted the Hong Kong ICPA. We understand that it doesn't just involve auditors, but many different stakeholders. We are collecting views from the Hong Kong ICPA. We also will consult the Financial Services Council. We reckon that in the coming few months, we will be able to release the consultation paper and start consultation. In relation to legislative timetable, of course, we hope that we will be able to complete the entire process before the legislative session. In the coming few months, we will conduct consultation, and at the same time, we will start drafting.
Following that, within 2014-2015, and probably in 2015, in the first half of 2015, we'll be able to table the proposal to LegCo, and we'll allow some time for LegCo to deliberate on our proposal and also for public consultation. Any further questions, Mr. Liao? If members have no further questions, all right, no further questions. I shall now put this item to the vote. Will all those members who are in favor, please put up your hands. Unanimous. So I declare that the item is approved. Are there any members who would like to have separate voting on this item at the FC meeting? No. Thank you very much then. The meeting is adjourned.